So
Are you okay?
what happened to the? Oh, there we go. I guess it just kind of the internet connection here makes me upset at times,
Sure.
but that's the life. So we switched to Sprint for our cell phone service. Was a horrible idea.
Why would you do that? Yeah.
I don't
Sprint's
know.
still a company?
Somehow.
All right, you're not sponsored by Sprint, are you? Was that like a was that
uh,
like leading into
Definitely
hey, this
not.
podcast is brought to you by Sprint. I don't want to mess up your money. Okay.
Um, I just always think like somehow I manage.
Okay.
That's all.
There you go.
Because we switched to Sprint. I thought it'd save us money. It picked up free Hulu. Um, Not worth it.
Well, yeah, but now you get free Hulu with Spotify.
Yeah, but I mean, what does Spotify? I mean, does Spotify have stuff that like Amazon Music doesn't already have?
I don't know. I don't have Amazon Music.
Yeah. So that's just we just have so many things: Hulu, Spotify, Amazon, Netflix,
What
HBO. We
Black
just
Mirror?
added.
Dude. Black Mirror is real, dude. We're living in it. We're talking through
I haven't
computers
seen
right now.
that
We
show
are
yet.
having a full conversation right now through computers, and you're gonna record it and then put it on air. You haven't seen Black Mirror?
I'm trying to think. Maybe a few episodes.
Okay.
Um, my wife and I watched the. Is that the show that did the choose your own adventure thing?
Yep. Yep. Bandersnatch.
Does it ever like get really amazing? Because we were like, eh,
The first season is okay. If you started from the beginning, that
yeah,
first episode is wild, where the
yes,
like the Prime Minister of England, wherever, has to have
right,
relations with. Yo, okay, yeah,
yeah.
like if that was okay. If that was the first episode I'd ever seen of Black Mirror, I would have never watched Black Mirror again for sure.
Well, so but we did that. The what is that one? Bander. What is it called?
Bandersnatch.
Yeah,
Bandersnatch.
we did that, but we thought it was a cool idea because I was like, why this should have already happened.
Yeah.
Like we should have done this 10 years ago. Those books have been out a while. I
Mhm.
mean, just add it to video. It's not that hard. But we
Okay,
never
but
thought
that's
it
a
was
lot.
that
That's a
good.
lot of things you have to film though to make that happen though. Like that,
Right.
that's like making a Pixar movie. Like it takes a long time.
But how long has Pixar been making movies?
Okay, but then again, that's animation, so it's another step forward with live action. I'm
Yeah.
not here to argue with you.
No.
Okay, how quickly
Well,
did you
maybe we
do
will.
your successful TV show and interactive movie? How
Well, okay. That's
all right,
true.
all right.
I can't not think about
Don't say it.
Moneyball
God
whenever
Almighty! I knew you were gonna.
because I at this point I don't even know the true story. I don't
of
think I know the true story at this
of what
point.
happened when we watched Moneyball.
So it was like my first day, the
Mm-hmm.
first time I ever met you, right?
Yeah, it was the very first day. Yep.
And the joke became I could name everybody that was there except you, basically.
Yeah.
That's where it started.
Yes, I vaguely remember that.
Yeah, that was like it would be like, oh yeah, I really love Moneyball. Sam, have you seen that? You like baseball? You like the Red Sox?
I do
You're
like. I
like,
don't
I
like.
was there.
All right, that movie's okay. That was a bad movie.
Hey, it's in my top 10.
It is not in your top
I
10.
love
Do
Moneyball.
you know how many movies have been made, Andy? There's a lot of
A
movies.
lot of movies.
Are you
What's your number
Andy or
one movie?
Andrew now? I don't know. What's you
I
Greg?
think
What do you go by now?
um
Because you went
I
through
go
like an
by
Andrew phase.
I usually go by Andrew
Andrew.
at work, but then Andy everywhere else.
What do the listeners know you as?
Most of them are my friends, so probably Andy.
AG Frazzle. That's your. There
Yeah.
we go. DJ
Uh,
AG Frazzle. Okay.
so my parents call me Andy. My sister calls me Andy. My wife calls me Andy. My daughter calls me Andy. So those are most of my listeners. So
Gotcha. Okay. Fair enough.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, Scarlett is on the intro when
Oh yeah.
at the start of my show she says, what does she say?
I.
Andy's funny. Time for the show.
That's good.
Yeah, so
Of course, I already knew that because I've listened to every episode.
that is not true.
Listen, man, it's on my list. It's in my queue. There's a lot.
The funny thing
We
I
can
did
take this out. We can.
oh yeah, when I started, I've been doing a lot of interviews this week. This is probably my sixth. So I'm
Yeah.
a little worn out, but talking to you is fun and easy.
Oh.
Um, so I started saying like, hey, how many episodes of mine have you listened to? Not a great question in a live interview because my friend Josh was like, one. I was like, I don't think I can get a fair analysis of what you think of my show at this point. And then my friend Jonathan, who is like my person that I moved to Raleigh, lived in his guest room when I first moved here with his family, was next door neighbors in Memphis with him for multiple years. He was like, I've listened to 4. So I was like, oh man, okay. Well, it's fine.
I'm consistent. Like I have people on air with me who just are like, oh yeah, I've not heard an episode of your podcast. So I'm like, that's cool. That's fine. I'm not doing
Yeah,
it.
I mean, I've only done one other episode with somebody who actually does a podcast,
Mm-hmm.
and he's from San Antonio, and he runs like a addiction recovery clinic.
Oh,
Been
word.
doing it for like 20 years, and it was a good interview, but just it was very like short and sweet. Like he had answers to everything.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is a lot different. Usually, it takes people time to come up with an answer, but
Oh yeah.
not very.
You think I read that email you sent me? You think I read those questions? Come on. How long you know me? Come on. All right.
I think we should start with. I'm talking to my good friend Samuel Lyons. I don't think he goes by Samuel.
I don't go by Samuel. Don't
Ever.
Sam Lyons. There you go.
Sam Lyons. So I think I'll just give you an easy one since we already talking about this. What is your kind of go-to couple of movies?
I go to if I just need like if it's like kind of late at night but not super late, I'm getting in
Like
like
9 o'clock.
Like
9
o'clock.
Well, our
11.
late nights are different.
Listen, yeah. Whatever that time is, like maybe I go out and call it an early night, get home, and I just want a little something extra to do. I'm popping on Dazed and Confused.
Okay.
And I'm gonna try to do the drinking game for it.
Okay, what is that?
Okay, have you seen Dazed and Confused?
Yes.
All right. So it's pretty much every time Mitch touches his hair or his face, you have to take a drink.
It's a lot.
He touches his face like 97 times in that movie.
Wow. Dazed and Confused. Okay. Yeah. That's I mean, that's not what I expected because it's kind of like older in the comedy.
So I didn't get into it until 3-4 years ago. I saw it for the first time, and I'm obsessed with it. Last year I watched it probably 8 or 9 times.
Okay.
Also, when it's on Netflix, Adventureland.
Adventureland. I have not seen that.
Adventureland's a good one. It's Jesse Eisenberg,
Right.
Kristen Stewart. Yes, Kristen Stewart.
Okay.
And Ryan Reynolds and Martin Starr.
Okay.
Is an adventure. So he's Jesse Eisenberg is just graduated from college. He's supposed to go off to Europe for the summer, and then Columbia for grad school. His dad gets down. It's in the 80s. And so his dad gets downsized. So in order to pay for grad school at Columbia, this poor underserved child has to work a summer job. And like if he works the summer job, it's going to pay for his first semester at Columbia at an amusement park. He has to work a summer at an amusement park, and he's so upset about it, about having to work 3 months to pay for an entire semester at Ivy League school.
Okay.
Kristen Stewart is
How should I know her? I know the name. How should I know her?
You get real disrespectful, sir. Twilight?
Well, I'm not up on. Hey, man, I'm out of it a little bit.
Twilight, bro.
Okay, this is gonna. Man, this is on air. I don't think I've ever seen any of the movies. Nor read the books.
I've got all 4 books in my bathroom right now. Those are
bathroom.
The Twilight series is my toilet read. I don't know how personal this podcast gets, but we're getting into it, listeners. I got through Twilight. I'm working on New Moon right now. New Moon's a bit of a slower read, but I'm gonna get through. I've read them all twice, I think.
Okay, yeah. I always see them I always see them for free on Facebook Marketplace. I
Yep.
don't know what that says.
I went to Goodwill 2 years ago, and they were having like a half off sale. So I
Hmm.
was able to get all 4 books for $1. And so it was like, I can't not do this. Like, I'm not like a Twilight fan. I'm not a Twi guy per
Right.
se. But like, all 4 books for $1? Come on.
Yeah.
I don't want to lose
So
money.
another thing I associate with you is Law and Order, like your love for that show.
SVU, baby.
Yeah,
None of that
SVU
criminal intent
specifically.
nonsense. Yeah.
So where does that, I know you like movies, I know you like comedy, but where does that fit in to who
Man,
you
good
are?
writing is good writing, dog.
Okay. Okay.
Sometimes you just want to cry. So you put on the Notebook, and it's just as good as when you want to laugh and you put on the Notebook. Listen,
Oh man.
art transcends all, young Andrew.
That's true.
Okay.
So you are a stand-up comedian by
Alleged.
night, right?
By day, if you're booking me, I'll come.
Oh, you'll come during the day.
I'll do 15 minutes at noon. I don't care. Like,
And how long have you been doing stand-up now?
5 years.
5 years.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I've seen you at least 2 or 3 times in person, and I
I feel
wrote
like you
down.
may have been at my first show.
Oh, really?
My first open mic that I did at it was 2014
Okay.
at Blind Pig.
Oh, I mean, I've definitely seen you there more than once.
That was so my first open mic was at the Blind Pig in Oxford, Mississippi. And it was just a bunch of people from the church came out. So I'm pretty sure you were there.
Okay, so I was there.
Yeah, it was right. I think it
So,
was right after you got there.
do you remember your first joke?
Okay, my first joke. Uh, my roommate was supposed to give me a ride here tonight, but I was practicing my jokes on him earlier, and he fell asleep. That was the first. Came in hot. First comic of the night.
First comic of the night? That's
First
good.
comic. Yeah, yeah. They put the new people up first so that you can kind of like just get it over with because you're not going to be good.
Okay.
That was
Okay.
the first one, and then
That's
my
good.
second
I like
joke, same set. Uh, so it's Black History Month. What do you guys want to talk about? Race, religion, or politics? I don't care. It's my microphone. We're talking about race, and I just like completely bulldozed them.
which is a bold, well, I guess it depends on where you are. But I would think for Oxford, Mississippi, maybe that's a tough one to do politics and race, right?
It depends on where you're going with it. I mean,
Well, sure.
you want to be careful about going on of like very specific 20-minute Donald Trump ramp because you don't
Right.
know what kind of crowd you're gonna get. But like in general, you can do liberal, conservative, whatever. Like if you're just talking about how different politics are different, if you're gonna just make fun of Republicans, Democrats, everybody, yeah, you can do that fine.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Actually, a pretty loose crowd. They're
Right.
into it.
So, yeah, my podcast has always been, I've been doing more interviews, but it's kind of always been on this concept of winter faith. And I've been doing it a lot more serious, but as you do interviews, it's so much more fun rather than just me on a microphone, And I love comedy, and I think I love comedy because it's like a relief from the seriousness of my life.
Mm-hmm.
I'm serious about being a dad, about being a husband. I work at a homeless ministry shelter with all men, see a lot of different stuff that's really a lot of brokenness in people's life. So I love comedy because it's just something so good about it for my soul. I feel like I almost feel like it's like a spiritual act to get into comedy. Is that crazy?
So I'm taking that. So that's when people ask me why I do comedy now. That's my answer. So thank you for that. That's fantastic. You nailed it, dude. You hit it right on the
Yeah,
head.
because you're a very thoughtful, serious person about a lot of issues,
Am
and
I?
yet I think of you that way. Maybe,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
Like
I mean,
if I asked you some serious questions about race, you would give me thoughtful answers,
I'll
right?
drop the hammer for you. Yeah.
But you also realize like you can use, um, I'm gonna give a shout out. There's no way this person's listening, but Aaron Rodgers says
A-Rod's definitely listening. Go ahead.
he
I didn't mean
says
to cut you off.
use the truth as a weapon. And I feel like that's what comedy can do
Use
sometimes.
the truth as a weapon. Is that Game of Thrones quote? Or you?
It might be, but I
No, that's
associate it with
good.
Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah,
So
use the truth as a weapon. Yeah, it's what they say comedy is tragedy plus time, which whatever. It can also be happiness plus time, and it can be tragedy plus no time. It could be tragedy. This just happened. I'm gonna get on stage literally 5 minutes later and talk about it. It's really it's just an outlet to get all these wild thoughts in my head out to someone. Like somebody's got to hear it. Or I'm
yeah,
just talking to myself. I'm gonna drive myself crazy.
right. Where do you think you got like the inspiration to do stand up?
I don't know. I remember when I was 7, I wrote a really spicy Adam and Eve joke,
Okay.
and basically making fun of women for eating too much. It was like bad, like it was
Oh, okay.
bad.
Okay.
And then I was like, I could do comedy, and then I just never thought about it again. And I started doing theater in middle school. Did that through my first 2 years of high school, and then where we moved to Mississippi, and that school didn't have a theater program. Do something about it, Phil Bryant. Bring the arts back to the schools. It's the governor of
Right.
Mississippi. You don't have to know him. Uh,
I knew who it was.
I
But
knew
yeah.
you knew. I was explaining to the audience. What was I saying? Yeah, and so I just kind of stopped doing art altogether. But when I was a kid, like performing and being on stage was just something I'd always loved. I did like speech club and things like that. And then yeah, just my last semester of college, I found out there was an open mic in Oxford, uh, and went to it and watched it and was like, I could do this.
Right.
Like for sure, and so that open mic only happened once a month, and so I spent the next month like just like writing a 5 minute set, and then went back, got on stage, and I've been hooked ever since. Like it's
Yeah. I'm sure it's a rush. I've never done stand up, but I'm sure it's a rush to get up there and it go well.
yeah,
I like
yeah. It's a surprise to get up there and it go well. I did like a guest set at a show last night. I was just going to watch it and then do karaoke after. Shout out Southtown Pub and in St. Louis, Missouri, and the boys from We Are Live for having me on their weekly show. But I was there to watch and they're like, hey, you want to do a quick set up front? I was like, yeah, cool. So like that can just be part of my days. I just go out and someone's like, hey, you want to tell jokes? And it just happens right there. Like it can like stand up can really just happen anytime, any place, which is scary for a lot of people. Usually the crowds at our shows, but it's a lot of fun for me to just see where it's going to happen next.
yeah, I listened to part of you. I think you guys are doing like a live stream. I think I listened to part of
Which,
that. Have you been
yeah,
on there
Facebook Live.
multiple times?
So, yeah, so there's We Are Live, which is a great. They started out as a morning radio show here that would follow our radio show back when Impolite Company was on air. Uh, and they're like broadcasting, they do production, they put on shows and different events. They're great. And then there's Hoosier Sophisticate, which is the same thing. They're a weekly evening radio show, and then they also do the Facebook live streams. So yeah, those are both great groups to work with. I get on with them wherever I can.
Yeah, that's great. Um, so I watched a set from last month, and I wanted to try to see how you created this.
You
Okay.
watched my set?
Yeah.
What
I
set
think
did I?
it was on YouTube from March, I don't know,
Okay,
20th or something.
okay,
So you go from talking about, hey, I kind of look like a former president,
sure.
um, and it'd be funny. I was thinking you could do something like, making fun of that concept. Like, obviously, you're talking about President Obama, but it would be like funny to
For
do
the listeners,
something.
I'm black. Since this is an audio podcast.
Good point.
I don't just have the same ears as Barry. Like we don't just have like yeah, okay.
Yeah, but if you like made a joke like, I do look a lot like Reagan. That's what I get a lot, or something like that. But anyways, you start with okay, I look like this president, and then you say but I'm disappointed because I tried to run
You want
for
me
class.
to
What?
do it? You want me to do the joke?
Yeah. Do
Okay,
it.
all right, okay. Uh, so my name is Sam Lyons. It's very easy to pronounce. I don't know why people are always messing it up. They're always calling me Sam Lyons or Sam Loins or 1980s Barack Obama. That's the one. There you go.
I like it.
And then from there, it's they used to pronounce it another weird way. I ran for class president in high school and lost. And they started pronouncing it 1980s Jesse Jackson.
Okay.
Just yeah, losing that election was painful for a couple reasons. First off, I was the only person running.
Right.
Also, I was homeschooled, so it's like, really, Dad, you couldn't absentee vote? You've been absentee everything else in my life, you know? That's I guess he was a good father. I gotta stop making that joke. My father was not absentee. He was a strong and consistent presence in my life. Yeah.
Yeah, like just how you start and then you go somewhere, with the joke. Like, how do you come up with that?
That literally, I mean, that joke just comes from somebody posting a picture of Barack Obama in college on Facebook and tagging me as Barack Obama.
Oh, okay.
And I was
Yeah,
like,
sure.
yeah, and I looked at it and I was like, I got the notification and I opened my phone and I see it and I was like, all right, that's fair. I didn't even like comment on it because it was right. Normally, someone posts a picture of you like looking like a celebrity or whatever, you're gonna like go back and forth, but that one was just so on the nose. And I was like, yeah, I'm 1980s Barack Obama here from the past to warn you of what's coming. Uh, and then I don't know where the Jesse Jackson part. I think that was just the next logical step to me was because it's like, oh, that's the only president they could compare me to. Well, they could compare me to Jesse. He ran and just kind of built from there.
Yeah. And I love that how it goes from, class president, then you're like, oh, I was the only one running, and you're
Hmm.
like, oh, that is sad. But then you're like, oh, because I was homeschooled.
Yeah,
Like, it's a good, pretty smooth
and that whole
transition.
thing is just to distract people from the fact that it means my parents are the ones calling me Jesse Jackson. And they're Republicans, so I knew it was an insult. Bullying and child abuse in one. This is
Oh man. Um, you also have some things that are just like just funny that are true
Mhm.
in your life. You have the joke about being in driver's ed and your parents teaching you how to drive, but your parents your parents are both blind,
My parents are both blind. Yeah, so that's
so it
that's
just
just
kind
a,
of
a
works,
bold-faced lie is what's going on there.
right? Um, yeah, it's fun to see like how you've you know like developed over the years. I'm sure it's like a lot more enjoyable to do it now.
Oh yeah, I went back and watched my first set for the first time. Like I did February 2014. I did my first set, recorded it, watched it the next day, and then like hid it away forever. And then when I hit my 5 year mark, I was like, okay, I should listen to this again. And so I pulled it back up and watched it, and like I mean, I can definitely see how far I've come and how much I've improved. But like as a first set, I sincerely it wasn't bad, you know.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
but it was definitely longer than it needs to be. Like I used my full 5 minutes, but with the amount of actual jokes that were in it, it could have been a 2 minute set. I
right.
thought so. I was going around saying, "Oh yeah, I did 5 minutes last night. I really did too," and that became obvious when the next month I got my first booked show. Uh, just another comic just texted me on a Friday is like, "Hey man, there's a benefit concert on the square tonight, and they want a couple comedians to open up. You want to do it with me?" And like I've done 2 open mics at this point, and he's done like 3. And so it's like, yeah, of course, man, let's go kill it.
Book me.
Book me, dog. And I told them I would do 10 minutes,
Whoa.
but
And
we get there and we find out that we are opening for a benefit concert for a memorial fundraiser for what T Model Ford, the blues musician.
okay,
You know what I'm talking about? Okay, model. Listen, I gotta know his name. I always forget it.
okay, yeah, look it up. 10 minutes. That feels like forever.
It
You
was.
could probably do 10 minutes now.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. If anybody listening to this is in Cleveland, Ohio, I'll be doing 30 minutes at Wilbert's. Yeah, 30 minutes at Wilbert's. Saturday, April 13th. This is gonna
Nice.
be out. When does this go out?
Well, I won't have it up by then. But
That's
yeah, if you
yeah.
can, if you're Doctor Strange, you can go.
If you're Doctor Strange, you can go
Yeah,
to Cleveland, Ohio on April 13th. Yeah.
get to Cleveland within the next 24 hours.
Yeah. But no, it was T Model Ford he was a well-known blues musician to people that are blues fans. And we get there and it's like, oh, this is a memorial. Like he's dead, and they're trying to raise money for like a marker for him. And I got up there, and the entire time the audience definitely didn't know they were gonna have to watch comedy first, and so they literally
Oh
all had
wow.
to. I'm on the stage, and there's TVs behind the bar, and the entire bar has its back turned to me and is just watching a tennis game.
Wow. Those
Match
are
tennis is a
character
tennis
building
match.
moments.
Yeah. And I just did the full 10 minutes and just like talking to a bunch of back of heads. I was like, cool, this is fine. This is what I want to do with my life now.
Yeah. So have you seen, I feel like there is a lot of TV shows about stand-up right now.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Which ones have you seen?
Crashing.
Crashing?
Pete Holmes, yep.
Um,
Got canceled. I'm pissed.
Yep.
Furious.
Really like Crashing. His podcast, I do some stuff that I've kind of taken from him.
Oh yeah. Thief.
And then the other one, Miss Maisel.
I haven't watched is it Marvelous Miss Maisel?
Yes.
I don't it's on what, Amazon?
Amazon.
I don't have Amazon, so I just haven't borrowed anybody's password yet.
Yeah. But that one, I feel like the first season was solid. Second season, it's okay.
Isn't the writer, isn't that the creator of Gilmore Girls? Isn't it Amy Sherman Palladino?
Yes, because
why am I not watching that? I need to get on that right now.
I think that's a big reason we started watching it, because my wife loves Gilmore Girls, and so I think that was a big thing of why we started that. And it's 1950s, so you have kind of the men-women stuff that is developing, which is why I love Mad Men, because I love that time, 1950s.
But before women had rights, yeah, dude, I get it.
So not that I love that they didn't.
Sure, but you love watching them get that. Like you love the come up story. You love it's like the origin story. No, I get it. No, Mad Men's dope. I never finished it.
It's a good one.
I gotta watch that last season.
This is very relevant to my life. You talk about life as a Disney movie. You know, what could life be like? I don't want you I don't even remember the joke that well. But now
I have no idea what you're talking about right now.
That's fine. It's on one of yours. You were just saying Disney really screws us up. It's just not, it's not, that's not how real life is. And then in my head, I'm thinking I've never been as confident as my 5-year-old daughter watching Frozen in her Frozen dress. I've never been that confident in my life. And there's been, Frozen 2's coming out. And I'm just this is my life now. This is I'm very excited about this movie because I get to watch it with her.
Oh, dude, I'm gonna send. When's her birthday?
Her birthday is in October.
Okay, yep. I'm gonna send her. There's a flute that will just plays "Let It Glow," "Let It Blow." What "Let It Go"? Is that
Let It Go?
Listen, you knew what I was talking about.
Yeah.
But it's just like the kid just presses the button and it just starts playing it. And I'm sending her that. So just to improve your life.
So great. Yeah. No, it really is I like that Disney movie more than others, but there is so much of this crazy world where we think our life should be a movie, and that's that's the real world for her. She's always asking where does Elsa live? It's well, and then we went to Disneyland. And then it's, you really got to figure out where she lives. You're so close. Anyways, it was funny.
Find it?
What?
Did you find Elsa when you were in Disneyland?
So Disney has thought of everything. So there's multiple parks, and there was the one we didn't pay for is where she was or something. And they want you to pay $100 extra to be able to go to this other park. Man, I can't see everything.
Can we talk about what a racket amusement parks are?
Yeah,
I think that might be the last true foothold the American Mafia has. The amount of money you have to spend.
It's a lot.
I
Yeah.
was never a fan. I've done Disneyland, I did Disney World, I've done a few of the Six Flags, but yeah, there's Six Flags here in St. Louis. I haven't been to it yet. Been there 2 years.
I think Disneyland is much cleaner than Six Flags if you're just walking around the park.
Well,
That's my
yeah, because Warner Brothers is a grimy company, and their amusement parks reflect it.
they reflect DC, but like their dark world.
Yeah.
Can't be as happy as Marvel. Um, but yeah, it is expensive, and I feel like they. Oh, just this is actually breaking pop culture news. The Disney app released its first like preview, all their stuff that they're going to be streaming and everything.
Oh, like their
Disney
streaming service.
Plus.
That's whack. What's on it? Is it a bunch of the Disney
All the
Channel
Marvel
movies?
stuff, all the kind of Disney cartoon stuff, all the Star Wars stuff, a bunch of new Marvel shows. Comes out in November, but they haven't said how much it is. Um,
Uh, did you see any Disney Channel movies on there?
I think anything Disney makes is going to be available,
Tight, because
but
Disney
they're
Channel
taking it
original
all from
movies.
Netflix. They're pulling everything from Netflix.
Oh yeah, rest in peace.
Captain Marvel will be the first movie that is going to be not put on Netflix.
Whoa.
So
I guess
it
I'm
is
not seeing
funny, like
Captain Marvel then.
my my life because of like my family and like the stuff that is fun to us. Um, like I grew up in like a pretty church is like real high on our list.
Yeah.
Pop culture not super high on the list, and now somehow I've like morphed them into the two things I care about the most. It's really odd. But your show, what would you say your show is about when you do your Lyons Den
Oh
podcast?
boy. It's about trying to get something recorded,
Okay.
and on air in time. Hey, when you like edit this all up, can you email it to me too so I can just use it as a week's episode? We can
Oh
do like
yeah,
just make it a
absolutely.
cross episode. All right.
Absolutely.
Uh, so Impolite Company is the overall name of the podcast and kind of the LLC. Chris Sear started it uh, years ago as a monthly showcase in St. Louis at the Crack Fox. And about a little over a year ago, he bought some airtime on local AM station. And just every morning, Monday through Friday, would go in at 6 and just pretty much talk to himself for an hour. But it was fantastic. It was amazing. Just listening to his like live stream of consciousness it was a great part of my morning. I would like turn it on right before I started getting ready for work and just listen to it all up until I left the house. Uh,
What would he
and
talk
then
about?
oh boy, globes, bears, governors, like it's literally like just whatever comes into his head, whatever's going on in the news.
Uh-huh.
Uh, yeah, but it's really like it is like it's a kind of show that you have to listen to get. Um, And so he brought Yale Hollander on to start doing Friday mornings, called it Coffee Break. Or well, it was originally the Friday Wind Down, uh, and then brought me on to do Mondays with the Lions Den. And so we were just three of us rotating in the studio Monday through Friday, and then went off air and have switched over to podcast only.
Okay.
But yeah, still going strong.
Yeah, when I hear that people like buy time and put stuff on the radio, I'm always like I get why you would do it, but I'm also like that art is not really. I don't know what's going to happen to radio at this
Yeah.
point.
It's I mean it's been on they've been calling it on the decline for years,
Right.
but it's still here. They've done the same thing with newspapers, but newspapers are still here. Like yeah, the sales are down for maybe the actual physical newspapers. I think we'll see more newspapers start going digital, and we'll see more radio start going digital, but the concept of radio isn't going to change. Like people still are always going to want something to listen to on
Right.
their drive into work, and sometimes they don't want to listen to music. They want to hear somebody talk about something. So like radio and podcasts are all it's all radio. It's just putting
Right.
out different ways, or it's
Do you,
all podcasts putting out different ways, whichever way you want to say it, whatever school of thought you're in.
right. So Spotify is getting into podcasts.
Yeah.
And then I'm wondering, like, does so like these really like monster big podcasts like Conan. I'm assuming Conan's is really big. I know it's fairly new, but like
What are
Joe
you
Rogan,
saying?
Conan
Conan?
O'Brien.
Okay,
Conan.
I thought you were saying
Yeah.
Coney, like Joseph Coney. I think you're about to plug
Sorry.
Joseph Coney's podcast on air.
That
This
that would
impolite
probably get
compliments
some
every day.
listens.
Listen to it.
That would
This
get some
this is what
listens.
happens.
Oh man, Coney. What was it? 2014.
2012, Coney 2012, dude. That's how
Coney.
I lost my Facebook account.
Oh man,
I
that's right.
I got
That's
kicked off
right.
Facebook. Yes, okay, so I got kicked off
Wow.
Facebook
Yeah.
for changing my name to Joseph Coney because we were trying to bring awareness
Right.
to everything going on, and like a bunch of us did it, and Facebook would just randomly take some of us
Yep.
down, and then I
That's
just
right.
couldn't get my Facebook back. There was no warning. There was no like, hey, change your name. They just removed my Facebook, which is whack when I go on and see my friends from high school still have their name as John Big Money Mad Dog Wesley, like that, and that's fine. But Mark Zuckerberg's a villain.
Do you? Of course. Do you remember going back to that? That we were doing like a prayer group that night or something,
Mhm.
and it was supposed to be on like a specific day, and then the guy that started that had like this huge breakdown.
What?
It was like all over public media. I'm not gonna say just because I keep it clean, but kind of what he got in trouble for. But he had this huge breakdown in public, and it was all over the news that day. And I cannot remember the guy that started it, but it's the same guy that did the original Joseph Coney kind of awareness video.
I do know what you're talking about.
He had this huge breakdown. It was all over news, and I think it happened that week.
Yeah.
And it totally died that whole night and event. Really didn't. What was even the original company? I've like lost track at this point.
What
Invisible
are we talking
Children?
about? What?
Invisible Children was like
yes,
that guy's.
Invisible Children was the thing.
That's
yes.
right. Yeah. Okay. Man.
Yeah.
Yeah. I shouldn't have talked about it because I don't know tons of details about it. But anyways.
Yeah, it's wild that one person's breakdown could kill that movement. But Subway's still doing fine.
Despite Jared.
Chick-fil-A's still doing fine.
Yeah. Well,
Fish fries are still thriving.
Still doing well. Shoot. Okay. So I had something and now I completely lost it.
That's
But so when you are not performing or writing jokes or working your normal job that pays, what have you been up to?
Man, a lot of karaoke.
A lot of karaoke?
I'm back on my karaoke wave. Twice a week I'm doing it.
Okay. Going with friends, I assume, not just by yourself.
I mean, I will. Like, I'm not. If everybody else is busy, like, I understand that you got other things going on, but I'm not gonna not sing just because you've got friends, But yeah, no, I'll go with a big group. I'll just go by myself and just try to make some friends there. I'll just go by myself and just do 3 songs and leave. But that's my jam.
That's funny to me.
I do comedy because I'm not good enough at singing to do singing professionally. So
okay, so you want to be a professional musician or singer?
Something performer. Like I would, yeah, like that would I always wanted to be like a rapper or a folk singer, or or a country singer. But
yeah, you love country. I forgot about that. That was like a big thing. You love country music.
That was a big thing.
It surprised me.
Yeah.
That's all. Because I don't like country, and most of my friends don't. But then moving to Mississippi, it makes sense that a lot of people like country, but I just was like, what? You like country? I don't know.
I'm Walker County, born and bred, baby. Texas till the day I die.
That's true. Being from Texas, yeah. It makes more sense when I actually think about it.
Red dirt, baby. Austin city limits. Some old Garth Brooks. That's my jam. First 3 songs I ever remember hearing are Thunder Rolls by Garth Brooks, Don't Take the Girl by Tim McGraw, and Goodbye Earl by the Dixie Chicks. And my dad just played those 3 songs pretty much on a loop to entertain us.
I have heard of those, so not saying much about
Man, I haven't
my
listened to
country.
I listened to "Don't Take the Girl" in a long time. That song used to make me. I was an emotional 5-year-old because of Tim McGraw. I was a very emotional five. That song made me so sad. And "Christmas Shoes," dude. Who "Christmas Shoes" used to get me right in my soul.
And you were 5 years old, and music was that influential to you.
I would just sit there and listen to it and just cry for hours. I have no idea like why I was so sad or why I was still listening to this thing that was making me sad.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Do you still
do
if
I
you
still
listen to
cry a
that
lot?
song,
Yeah.
would it happen?
Do what?
Would that happen if you listen to it?
If you put Christmas shoes on, well, I'm like tearing up thinking about it.
Wow. Okay.
It's dude, like he's got the change in his hand, trying to get enough to buy his dying mother a pair of
Oh wow.
probably ugly red shoes. Like those shoes are probably super ugly if he was gonna pay for them with his change. But he was just like it was so sweet. And people rag on Christmas shoes a lot. It gets a lot of hate, but
I'm gonna have to revisit that song. So, I don't know if you know this, but I've worked as a hospital chaplain for
I do
multiple
that.
years,
Yeah,
and so I always kind of am attentive to when people are like, "Oh, that makes me cry," especially at like just something that still to this day has an impact to you. And I think music for me, like I have certain songs if I listen to them I would still cry right now.
right.
It's something like so powerful about music. And I think what I've seen, like, just talking about faith and grief and brokenness, the stuff that I talk about that's really hard to talk about, is because I'm willing to go through the hard stuff, that makes like life more enjoyable.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Definitely.
and I do think it can be like just speaking of like how divided sometimes I feel like churches or divided people are because of politics, because of churches, like comedy and music, and not so much churches, but hopefully churches are like bringing people together.
Yeah.
Have you experienced where it's like, okay, there's a lot of people in this comedy room that wouldn't be together otherwise?
So let's talk about the comedy community and how much I love
Okay.
people in comedy. My dad passed about a year ago. I was after I moved to St. Louis, I had to go back down to Mississippi. I got to see him right before he passed, which was good but bad as well. And then just getting everything planned. And it was just it was the week. It was hell. It was all like it was. I just couldn't stand a minute of it. It was just constant like dullness around me. And a few of the like comedians up here in St. Louis were all sending me messages, like checking in with me throughout the week, which I really appreciated. And then the night before the funeral, they were like just sending me a lot of messages, like just asking me different things about Mississippi and like about about Oxford, like what were things going on down there. Which I thought they were just trying to, like distract me from everything, give me something to talk about, which is great. And so I go to sleep about 11 and I wake up at 4 as I do sometimes, and I've got like 30 messages of them like asking me where I am, like missed calls from them, and then like just sending me pictures of them at different bars on the square because the all the comedians in St. Louis like put funds together to send them down as a group for the funeral.
Wow.
And so they were there the next morning for the service and then after for the lunch and everything. And so I wake up at 4 and I see all these messages and I started like probably like only the first or second time that I really cried since it happened, and everything just hit me so hard. But it's such a like it really comedy really does bring people together. Like I love the people in this community so much. They've been such a support system to me, especially the last couple of years with everything that's been going on.
Mm.
But yeah, they're fantastic.
Wow. I feel like a bad friend that I didn't know that.
Hey, we
But
all got
that
lives, dude. We all got things going on.
yeah. Wow. You know, I'm gonna throw this out there. Like the comedy community is like authentic.
Yes.
Like you can't fake it.
Yeah.
Like you go up
Well,
and have bad sets. Everybody does it. Like
yeah.
it's
You just gotta
fine.
Yeah, you gotta get off stage and go and like, well, that was rough. Let's figure out what went wrong there. But it's like it's such a weird. It's like performance is the only profession where you're expected to be great right away.
Hmm.
Like no, like when you get a job in customer service or whatever, like people understand you've got to go through a training period, and that's why they have you do like shadows and other employees like screen the calls you're making and supervise you. But in like performing, whether it's comedy or music or acting, whatever, you kind of just you have to get up there and you're just expected to be crushing it. But it's a lot of trial and error, and it's a whole lot of failure
Hmm.
before you get something good out of it. And so, the people that are truly into comedy, like there's people that do it passively just as a hobby, which is great. Whatever it can do for it, it's fantastic. Whatever reason you want to do stand up, do stand up. But like the people that are in it to be in it, are so supportive of each other and just that everybody's so willing to like watch your set and give you notes on it afterwards and help you with like tags to like different punchlines for your jokes, and it's such a collaborative community experience.
That's incredible. Yeah, that's so cool. I just think like it's a world where like feedback is welcome,
Yeah.
whereas most of the like I try to do this with my like when I post stuff about my podcast. I'm like, I want feedback, good, bad, and ugly. You
Yeah,
know?
feedback
I'm,
is welcome, but also cousin Earl, don't accost me right after I get off stage
well,
to tell me why my opinions on SEAL Team 6 are wrong. I
yeah, yeah.
I did a set in Tupelo, Mississippi, and I was talking about. I saw it was a bumper sticker that said, "This is my professional ISIS hunting license," which, like, no, it's not. Like, I'm not saying there aren't ISIS hunting licenses, but you're not gonna put one on the back of your '98 Toyota Camry, you know? And so I just do this set about talking about ISIS hunting. Don't hold your laughs in,
Yeah, I
and if you
know.
want to laugh, laugh. I just
I
make
want
sure the
people to
audience
hear
knows.
you.
Yeah, I want them to hear that I'm funny. So,
Right. No, he's funny.
uh,
I'm laughing.
there you go. And so I get off stage, and this guy gets up to me. Well, this guy goes up next after me, who he's like in his 60s, clearly had never done stand up before.
Oh
Like
wow.
80% didn't know open mic was happening that night. Uh, and he just starts talking. He's like, "Well, that guy front row there that just was up, I really appreciate a lot you had to say about ISIS and all that. Because my son was a chopper pilot for SEAL Team 6 when they took down Bin Laden." And I was like,
Oh,
I don't think he was. And also like that's different than ISIS. Like Bin Laden and ISIS are different things, you know. But he pretty much spent his entire 5 minutes like talking about the other people's jokes. So that feedback isn't great, but
right. Yes.
sincere, intentional feedback is always welcome.
I I do think so let's see. When was this? 2 summers ago. I was still living in Memphis. I was I just kind of was like I really want to go see Jerry Seinfeld perform stand up. Like I don't
Hmm.
know how much longer he'll be doing it, and I'm single. I have a little bit of income. I think I could go see him if he's close. And he was performing in Georgia. So I drove like 7 hours by
What do you
myself.
think close is? Because that's not close.
Well, that was literally the closest he was coming.
Where in Georgia?
Um, let's see, Columbus State University, I think.
Okay,
So
that's Columbus, Georgia.
yeah, yeah. I'd never been there. I didn't. I had a friend that used to live there, but anyways, I went to see him at this theater by just drove by myself. Went to see him by myself, and he comes on stage, and he says, I just think it's kind of interesting. He comes on stage and like gets this huge applause and standing ovation and stuff. And his first line out the gate is, "Hey, the other three people aren't coming. It's just me." And it like caught me off guard because I mean he hasn't done the TV series since 1997,
Right,
you know.
right.
But he has the awareness that like his like he would have been successful as a stand-up, but he
Oh, for
never
sure.
he never would have been like who he has become without those three people, without that TV show. And I just thought it was like this funny insight into, hey, that was like kind of like a serious statement, but it was still funny.
Right.
And then his stand-up is a lot about his family now. It's a lot different. Like having 3 kids and a wife, and a lot different than his, certainly than the TV show. But any of his jokes, because he doesn't release like hardly anything of his new stand-up. So
it's so interesting me seeing like long established comedians like that, like as their lives go on, how their comedy changes. Because of course he's not going to be talking about the same things now that he was talking about in '94 or whenever.
Right.
So it's so interesting to see. It's as your life evolves, so does your craft. It's that's another great thing about art to me.
Yeah, absolutely. So when you think about like, is there any connection between like where your faith journey is at? I don't know how often you talk about this on your show, but probably not too often. But
Not too often.
Has your faith journey like been shaped by comedy? Or I know you moved to St. Louis, and what's that like?
It's it's definitely exposed me to a lot more ways of thinking. So I'd say my faith has definitely shifted and kind of evolved. I don't want to say it's looser, but it's more open. Um, I'm right now I'm more into just like an overall like a belief in something, and I'm not positive what it is, but there's something out there that's either looking over us or it just is just there, and like I have no real understanding of it what it is, and I think that's okay. Right now for me it's enough to just know that there is something bigger than us out there.
Like
But
one of the things that I say is like a lot of times we think like the opposite of faith is doubt.
yeah,
That's the bad thing. Like doubting Thomas, he's like a villain in the story.
is that like a Breaking Benjamin side project? What is Doubting Thomas? I don't.
Well, people talk about Thomas of the Bible and how he had to touch Jesus's side to believe that he was resurrected. So the title, like you'll hear in church sometimes people say, "Oh, he's a doubting Thomas." Like that's become a term.
That's whack.
It's usually used negatively.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you shouldn't doubt because doubt is bad. And my take is like the opposite of faith is not doubt. The opposite of faith is like apathy. Like if you're like, I'm out, I don't care, whatever, it's irrelevant. Like that to me is actually more harmful than like if you're thinking and exploring and trying to figure stuff out, like that's a form of faith.
Yeah.
Like is that like trying to think of where to go from that. But I just think there's something about like how like the philosophy of life or the philosophy of your faith, it can go back, it can go from very strong to apathy to somewhere in the middle. Like, and that's I think how life is shaped. Like my life is totally different now that I have a daughter and I'm like seeing life through her eyes and seeing what's funny. Like that changes how I look at everything in life.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's just such a soft, or not soft, but it's like I think people just really miss out on that when they think it's like you have to believe certain things and that's what faith is. I don't know. So basically, would Jesus be a good comedian? I think that's the question.
Man,
he was a good storyteller.
He was a good storyteller. He's good. I bet he'd make a great Toastmaster. He would crush the Toastmaster class. Yeah, for sure. Just a good comedian. I don't know, because just because you're a good speaker doesn't mean you're funny. Just because you're the savior of the world doesn't mean you're funny.
I think you gotta think 12 years. 12 men traveling together for 3 years, camping outside, hanging out, doing. I mean, there's gotta like asking all these serious questions. And you got emotional guys. You got people who are like playing to kill Romans, and you got people who are pacifists, and they're all camping together. It's an interesting crowd.
I bet Simon was the funny one.
Simon Peter?
Yeah, Simon Peter was probably the funny one. And Jesus probably just stole his jokes and used them on stage.
Do you listen to Jim Gaffigan much? What's your take on him?
Gaffigan, yeah, I get down with some Gaffigan. I don't like actively listen to him, but like when I first started listening to comedy on Pandora, I would just pick like a station and just shuffle through different bits, and so a lot of Gaffigan would come up. I love his kind of take on family and faith and how he kind of hits it from the side. Like you can tell he's been like exposed to the church, and he has some like part of his personality is shaped by that, but he's not just like full on about it.
I don't remember the joke, but he talks about he performed before the Pope. Like he like introduced the Pope because he's very Roman Catholic, and so he did like a stand-up routine. I can't remember. It was on some TV show or podcast that they interviewed him about.
Do you know which Pope it was?
The current one.
Oh,
like
wow.
It's pretty recent. So yeah, I thought that was, I can't remember when, but I do like his take, and the reason I thought of it is he does a bit about the disciples having matching jackets. Like
yes,
they were
I
like
love
a
that
biker
one.
gang that had, and he does it in like a kind of a like New York accent.
Hey, Jesus, funny. Me and the guys were talking. We were thinking we should get a name. How about the Disciples?
Yeah, I think it's
the
Apostles.
Sure. That's great.
Yeah, so he does fun stuff. Who are the other? Who are your go-to comedians? Yeah, your go-to disciples, and
my go-to disciples are Simon Peter. Damn, the one that replaced Judas, like they cast the lot, and
I don't know,
and damn it, I was trying to think of it, and then Anakin Skywalker. Those are my go-to disciples. My go-to disciples.
What about comedians?
Go-to comedians. The real question. Hannibal Buress. First and foremost, John Mulaney.
Mm-hmm.
Tommy Johnigan, Chad Daniels, Elijah Schlesinger. I'm pretty sure I just butchered her name. Tig Notaro's great. I don't know, dude. There's so much comedy.
There's a lot,
there.
Yeah.
Going back and listening to damn it, who's the guy? Mitch Hedberg.
Okay.
Mitch Hedberg.
He's still doing stuff.
Yo, you know he's been dead for like 15 years, right?
That's why it threw me off when you said it. Like
he's still, yeah, he was like he's been gone for so long, but his comedy is still so. If you still see some people get on stage, they're very clearly influenced by him.
Yeah.
If he lived and kept doing stand up, he would have been. He's like, I don't know. He's almost like stand up comedy's Biggie or Tupac.
Okay.
Like gone way before his time, and like would have been it for comedy.
Oh yeah, there's several of those that went too soon. The person I still go to a lot is Robin Williams stand up.
Really? Okay, I haven't listened to a lot of Robin Williams. Robin Williams is one of those guys that like I knew as an actor, and so I kind of forget that he did stand ups. Like Robin Williams, Drew Carey.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think about him doing stand up. That's for sure.
Yeah. Who else? Bill Cosby. Not like villain, huge villain. But we didn't always know it. So when I was a Bill Cosby fan, like I knew him as an actor, not as a comedian.
So you going back to like being 5 years old. I remember being 5, 6 and listening to Bill Cosby records.
Whoa.
That was like my thing. Like I remember being like, if I wasn't feeling well as a kid, or just this is what I like to do to relax, having the cassettes, having the records, playing the record player just to listen to Bill Cosby.
Wasn't this stuff pretty blue for a 5-year-old to be listening to?
I don't think so. No, not those. Not at least not the ones we had. It was a lot about. He had like 30 minutes where he describes him and his brother at night trying to sleep in the same room, and I think maybe even in the same bed. And they
I think I have heard that one.
I think it's like Russell, the brother I wrestle with, or something. and really funny. Still remember a lot of that. Yeah, and he had stuff about like just like he had some Adam and Eve jokes. He had some like Noah and the Ark jokes. Like so yeah, always that's what I associate with him is listening to him. I never really watched the TV show. And Dave Chappelle talks about Bill Cosby a little bit in one of his stand-ups recently. Because he had some fan heckle him about using Bill Cosby stuff, and
yeah. So I mean, Hannibal Buress, remember, is the kind of the one that brought the Bill Cosby stuff back into light. At least that was the first time I'd heard about it. And this must have been like 2013, 2014 when Hannibal was just on stage. He was talking about how Bill Cosby is always complaining about, black kids with their pants sagging and how they're destroying the culture and his respectability politics. And Hannibal was just like, yeah, but you rape people, Bill Cosby.
Right.
And like, that was the first time I'd ever heard of that. But he said it so casually. And then you go and you look and it's like, yeah, the women have been telling this story for years and nobody's been listening.
Yeah.
So again, like it's whack that it took a guy saying it that took a man saying it to get attention, but like comedy is a good outlet for bringing things like that into the light.
Truth as a weapon, man.
Truth as a weapon.
That
people forget that Chris Brown beat Rihanna, but not when I get on stage. They don't. I'll talk about it.
It is so crazy that we don't like. Yeah, just whether it's not believing true things or, the sources and like the fake news stuff, the sources, anonymous sources, just like the weird world we live in. I don't know I don't even know how we figure out the truth sometimes. Like it's kind of sad, but yeah, I don't know if I can think of Bill Cosby in a positive light ever.
I don't know. Like
it's hard. That's for
Different
sure.
World is still a really good show. Like, I don't know.
His comedy's still funny. It's just really
I don't
hard.
see him. Yeah, him like himself. I do not see in a positive light at all. That doesn't mean I'm never gonna watch the Cosby Show again. I think to an extent there is a case for separating the artist, the person from the art. Because that was just such a like I learned the Cosby Show is just such like a formative part of my life growing up. And we watched it as a family every night on Nick at Night. That was like the last thing we did before bed. So I can't just forget the things that I learned and the impact that his writing and whatever his art has had on my life. But at the same time, knowing now who he is and who he was then, it does change the way that I look at it and changes the way I receive it. It's kind of looking like I've been looking through a jaded glass. Now I'm seeing it through a clear glass, and it's a reminder that there's just dualities and pluralities to everybody. So sometimes, but like being a fan of something, you're anytime you're a fan of somebody's work, there's a risk that they're going to end up being a villain,
Wow. Yeah, I don't know if I ever think about it that way, but I definitely like if there was like stuff that came out about trying to think of somebody I wouldn't want it to happen to. Well, like Gaffigan, if there was some scandal with him, that would be sad.
Whoa, that would be very sad.
That'd be really sad. But I just think Cosby was way bigger than Jim Gaffigan.
Yeah.
Way bigger.
It's sad. Well, the one of the sad things about the whole Cosby thing is that it's damn it. Hang on, give me a sec. One of the really sad things about Cosby is that we always knew him as this like family man, like he was like that. He was America's dad.
Yeah.
And now we find out America's dad is an abuser. Like that's terrifying,
It is.
You die a hero or you live long enough to find out that your faves are problematic.
What's the line from Batman? We saw that movie together.
Yeah, Dark Knight. You die a hero, you live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
Yeah.
Great movie. Great movie. Dark Knight Rises, great movie. Batman Begins, I don't know. I gotta go watch it again. When Batman Begins came out, I did not like it at all.
It was it's so different from seeing Jim Carrey as the Riddler to watching
Yeah.
that.
But then like I love Dark Knight and Rises. Those are both great movies. I would put The Dark Knight probably in my top 10 movies.
Yeah, I don't think it's in my top 10. I update my
But
top 10.
Moneyball's in your top 10. No, all right.
Hey, let's talk. Let's get into
Interview's
this.
over.
No, so now Moneyball is taking on. So the reason I loved it is because of like I think there's really good acting in it. I think there's good story writing. I love baseball because of my grandfather, because of my dad. Completely sentimental. It did get nominated for Best Picture that year. So, but now it's taken on another. I like it even more. I love baseball. Love my family. Now it's all about Brad Pitt and his daughter and that relationship. So it's like taking on. What's that?
Is his daughter like is that like a character in the movie?
Yeah, yeah. She's not like a big. Well, I mean, she's the main character's daughter, so like she's significant, but not like it's not about their relationship, but there's just moments.
Gotcha.
There's moments where she's playing. They go to a guitar store and she's playing a song, and he says like, I love that song. You're beautiful. Like those moments are what,
Okay. All right.
But I do love baseball. Very sentimental. That movie gave teams like the Milwaukee Brewers a shot. So,
are you a Milwaukee Brewers fan?
Yeah, that's where I grew up.
What? You're from Milwaukee? Okay. Are they gonna win this year?
I don't know. They're on a 3-game losing streak. I don't know.
So on a losing streak. Should we make like a Cardinals Brewers bet?
That would be fun. So they opened the season taking 2 out of 3 from the Cardinals, and now they're getting ready to play them again in St. Louis.
And then get smashed. When is that? When's that game? I'll go.
I mean, they'll be there several times because they're in the same division.
Sure.
So, but I probably won't be, I don't even think you knew this. So we are getting ready to have a baby.
What?
So
way to bury the lead.
So I probably won't be taking too many trips anytime soon.
That's fair. Congratulations.
Thanks. So, but I do watch them and follow them a lot. But I associate with you with liking the Red Sox, not the Cardinals.
Well, that was because I live in St. Louis now. That was the
I know it. Yeah.
Baseball is boring, dude. It's so I'm glad it's such a positive influence in your life, but baseball is so boring. Oh my god, I can't stand it. I've been to like 4 games since I moved here.
It's a nice stadium.
It is a nice stadium, and I couldn't get through it without those hardworking employees at the beer stand. Shout out to all the concession workers at Busch Stadium.
There you go.
Do it for me.
Well, that being in St. Louis now, being a Cardinals follower, you've got some very good friends who also follow the Cardinals.
Yeah,
very closely. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, and one of my real good friends is she's the in-game host for the Blues. So I'm a hockey fan now, I guess.
Okay.
Shout out Carly Lawrence, in-game host for the St. Louis Blues. But no, baseball's so damn boring. But it's fun.
You need to get Nick to come up and go to a game with him.
Man, we were at the same game last summer.
Oh, really?
But we were like 8 sections apart.
Yeah.
So we like met up in like the pavilion area for a minute, but I wasn't about to walk halfway across the stadium to still be watching baseball. Like if walking halfway across the stadium and then it's gonna be like a curling match instead, sure, I would do that. But not to just still be watching baseball.
Well, curling's on like ESPN the Ocho, I think. So at least you can watch it on TV.
Yeah. Can't wait for next winter.
So why don't you do some plugs for upcoming events and your show?
You got an idea when this is gonna be out?
It's probably gonna be a few weeks.
Okay. So coming up, like I said, I'm doing Cleveland tomorrow. Won't be up then. Every month I run a showcase called Yours, Mine, and Ours here in St. Louis. I co-run that with my very good friend Meredith Hopping. It's on rotating dates at the Heavy Anchor. Through the summer, it'll be the last Thursday of the month. So the next shows are going to be April 17th, uh, May 16th, June 27th, July 25th, and August 22nd. I'll
These are all
confirm those dates for you, and so maybe you can just say them like in the intro. You can plug them in.
yeah. And those
Okay,
are
cool.
all in St. Louis area.
Yeah, it's the Heavy Anchor. It's my monthly showcase. That we book the comics for. A lot of great local comics on that show. A lot of out of towners will come through. Tina D-Ball is going to headline in May. She was the funniest person in St. Louis. Won the Helium contest for 2018. Larry Green will be headlining in June. He's fantastic. Comic based out of St. Louis, but always on the road doing shows.
Okay.
Dwayne Duke in July is coming in from Ohio. He runs the Queer Comedy Festival in Columbus, I believe. That's doing its second year this year. And then Chris Sear is going to headline August. He's the Big Papa of Impolite Company, which is our daily podcast. You can listen to. You can hear Chris pretty much every day of the week. And then Mondays are my episodes subtitled The Lyons Den, and Fridays are Yale Hollander subtitled it's the Impolite Coffee Break.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. And you can also look up Sam's videos on YouTube.
On YouTube, I'll try to get some newer videos up there at Sam Lyons Comedy. You can follow me on Twitter, Wu Tang Sammy, with a Y, not an IE. On Instagram, Wu Tang Sammy. On Cash App, Wu Tang Sammy. So like if you hear a joke, you're like, that's a damn good joke, send me 5 cents. There are no fees to send and receive money with Cash App on a personal account.
There you go.
You can also get your own custom-made prepaid cash card, debit card.
Wow. It's quite the commercial here.
This show's sponsored, but no.
No, that's good. So check Sam out on YouTube. If you're in the St. Louis area, go see him live in person.
StLouisComedy.com has all of the upcoming independent shows listed. You can find about open mics, so anybody who's ever coming through St. Louis and looking to laugh, StLouisComedy.com. We've got 4 clubs here, Helium, Funny Bone, Improv Shop, and the Laugh Lounge. We've got dozens of bars that help us put on independent shows. Most of our shows are cheap or they're free. And we're here to have a good time, man. Come join us. Come laugh with us.
Awesome.
Flyover Comedy Festival in November. It's our 3rd annual St. Louis Comedy Festival. It's the Flyover Comedy Festival. It's going to be November, I believe, 7th through the 9th.
Cool.
Flyover Comedy Festival in the Grove, St. Louis.
Nice. Well, this is cool, man. It's fun. It's cool to see like what you're doing. I'll probably won't use
most of this trash. No.
No. You know, I do remember one thing I was gonna ask. If I was gonna say something. Well, I guess we can still use it. Do you think I could do stand up? Andrew Gregory Frazier, could he do stand up successfully?
Okay, anybody can do stand up successfully.
Do it well.
Yeah, dude, you're a funny guy. I don't know. You're a good speaker. You've got a good like stage presence. But
when have you seen me on stage?
You were a preacher. Like that's still a stage
presence. I suppose.
Yeah.
I'm comfortable. Okay.
You're still a performer. Now I'm not like, but yeah, like ministers are performers, dude. Like you gotta be able to keep the crowd enthralled. We spent a few years watching the same preachers. Those guys are Casey, Lindy. Those guys are hilarious. You know.
Yeah.
They're definitely funnier. Don't use this. Like they're funnier off stage than they are on stage. But
they're never trying. I've never seen them try to be funny.
Never trying to be funny on during a sermon, but their personality.
Maybe sometimes.
Yeah, their personalities are just naturally humorous to an extent, and so that comes through in their sermons.
Yeah. See, yeah, I do feel like I could see Lindy getting up stage and like trying to be funny. But I don't know about Casey if he's ever trying.
He's.
Oh really?
Oh yeah.
Well, you spent what, 4? How many years have you seen him kind of up talking in
So I
public?
started going to OCOC in 2010. So yeah, 7 years.
7 years of seeing him up front by himself. That's
Him
true.
and Lindy, yeah.
That's true.
They're both
Yeah, it is funny when you put it that way. Yeah.
they're both gone now.
Where is Casey?
Casey is moving to Delaware.
Delaware.
Yeah, they're going to a church up there.
Wow.
Yeah.
I remember Casey and Tracy specifically tell me they hate moving and they never want to move.
Well, life happens.
They have 3 kids still?
Yep.
Okay.
Miles and the twins.
Yeah. Man, that makes sense though, because like he has called me, or like we've talked on the phone. I probably initiated it, and then he was saying like, yeah, I'm gonna send you money for your podcast, and I was like, okay, cool, and then I haven't. It's been a long time, so that makes sense that I didn't know they were moving. I knew that Lindy had moved.
Yeah, Lindy is in Columbus, Mississippi now.
Yeah. Well, if you sign up, do you do like Patreon for your podcast?
I don't know. We have some local sponsors.
Oh, okay.
Crack Fox, Fortune Teller, a lot of local bars and restaurants.
Okay.
So we just plug them in the episodes. Crack Fox, Fortune Teller Bar, El Chico Bakery, King Edward's Chicken and Fish, and Taco Circus.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Do you do editing stuff?
And Crow's Nest. Crow's Nest.
Okay.
Do I do editing? No, pretty much Chris does all of that. So I kind of just record the episode as is. I'll look through and make sure that all the audio levels are up because I was using this whack mic that didn't pick up my voice at all. So I would send him my episodes and he would have to like amplify them times 7. But now this one's a lot better.
Oh yeah, these are good. I like these.
But I'll do the I'll do the recording and then I'll try to listen to it again to see if I need to like chop anything out. 'Cause, especially if it's me doing an episode by myself, there's a lot of lulls in those episodes.
Right.
It'll take me like 3 hours of talking to get 45 minutes of usable content.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, I used to just do it by myself, and now I've been having guests on, and it's been really fun.
I didn't even think about doing it like this. I'm gonna start doing this a lot more.
Doing what?
Over Skype.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of people that I want to. Well, I just interview local people, so they just come over.
Oh yeah, I mean that's the better way to do it.
Yeah, but like, if I want to interview somebody in Raleigh, North Carolina, I gotta have not you, somebody else. Any interesting people? No.
Interesting.
No, you should do stand up. What's the comedy scene like in Raleigh now?
No idea. I mean, I know there's a couple of clubs because I've Googled them and looked them up. And then it's so funny because you'll have I've been talking about doing stand-up for a couple of years now. And I have the minister here. He's just like, Andy, don't do stand-up. Like, that's not you. And I'm like, okay. But it's like, I feel like, especially if it was in so I've seen some Christian comedians at some campus ministry events.
Yeah.
And, some of them are really good. So I do think maybe there's a world where I do, some kind of stand-up stuff through church.
Yeah.
But, for me, what I have to be careful of, I didn't do it much with your podcast because you're able to keep conversations going. But the amount of references I make to my wife and my daughter can be overbearing. And
stop. All you do is talk about God. What do you love them or something? Jeez.
It's so hard to not be like, well, my wife. I've done some interviews. I'll definitely edit this out. I've done some interviews with friends, and it's all they said was my wife for 55 minutes. That's not fun to listen to.
I don't know your wife.
She grew up in Peru, sort of.
Okay.
Well, she was born in Peru. Then she moved here when she was young. Her dad is 86, and I can't always understand what he's saying because his accent's so thick.
Okay.
He is just very serious, very Roman Catholic, very just he's just very set in his ways, which makes sense.
Okay.
And then, but they come over on Monday nights, and we get to hang out with them for a little bit. But yeah, my wife is a school teacher. She does a lot of restorative justice
Okay.
circles, and so she's working with training teachers how to better deal with students instead of just suspending them all the time.
Nice.
And she just got done with a racial reconciliation conference, which was with her school district, which is pretty cool.
Dope. Dope.
So that's like a big passion
Me
for
and
her.
Lindy went to one of those out at Abilene Christian a few years ago.
Yeah. Did you like it?
Oh yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
All right, so that was three things. That was some things about your wife. Tell me three things about your daughter.
Okay. She is she's 5.
Okay. That
She
doesn't count. Tell me three other things about your daughter.
yeah, she loves dancing.
Okay.
So there's some video on Instagram and stuff. She'll be like, Andy, come dance with me. That's one of our activities. She loves taking the phone and asking Siri jokes. Like,
Okay.
Siri, tell me a joke, and they'll just go on, 10 minutes of that. And it's really funny when Siri doesn't understand what she's saying, and Siri says something like, you'll need to repeat that again. Like, she loves that because it's like breaking, I guess, the wall of like, what is this?
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing, silly Siri? And she loves kind of harassing our cat. So
Okay.
yeah, she's really fun. Very
Uh,
much a performer.
okay.
For
Can I ask,
sure.
is her birth father like around?
Yeah, he's around. He's pretty difficult to work
Okay.
with. That's by far the toughest part of my life right now.
Okay.
Is that we've been married for a year and 3 months, and that's been really good. And then the step parenting stuff, my relationship with Scarlett has been great.
Yeah.
It's been really easy. It's just fun. So it's weird because I didn't meet her till she was 3. So I've never really done 0 through 3 as
Yeah.
far as being a parent. So
Oh, you excited?
yeah, I mean, I'm a little nervous, but yeah, it'll be
When she
fun.
do?
Huh?
When she do?
He. So
Well, I meant your
baby.
wife. When's your wife do?
Oh, June 8th.
Okay.
June 8th.
All right.
So we're getting close. We're getting
Sorry.
so
Y'all got a name yet?
Judah.
Judah. Okay.
Yeah.
Judah
I don't,
Frazier.
I don't know
Okay.
about the middle name yet. We're still debating.
Samuel's a great name.
Yeah, I do like the name Sam. I always have. Um, but his nickname is gonna so Scarlet is Scarlet Fox. We
Uh-huh.
have tons of Fox stuff, and he is gonna be Judah Lion.
Nice.
So there's lion stuff.
There you go. So
Anytime there's
Samuel's a perfect middle name then.
yeah. Anytime there's like something we see in a store that has a lion on it, we always buy it. So
It's great.
yeah. So we're gonna have fox and lion. We're gonna get tattoos.
Yes.
Fox and a lion.
Into
So
it.
my friends from Harding and I have a joke about getting a tattoo for the Lion of Judah. So I'm like, I'm gonna do it. Get a Lion of Judah tattoo.
That's dope, dude.
Yeah. So it's fun. It's been really fun. We have an awesome house. If you ever do shows in Raleigh,
Man, I will do. I'll
I
try.
think
Man,
it's good. What is it? Good Nights Comedy Club or something? Good Night Comedy Club.
Yeah. I've heard of that.
I think it's good. I mean, I don't know.
Maybe I'll try to book some fall dates.
Yeah, fall
I'll
would be
see.
better than summer.
For sure. Yeah, I ain't even trying to be no newborn.
Yeah, you can't stay here in the summer. I know
Yeah,
that. I do have a lot of friends that are here, so you could
sure.
find
I'll
some.
sleep anywhere, dude.
So there's something else I was gonna. Can't remember. It's fun catching up with you though.
Yeah, man. It's been a
It's
while.
so cool because you're doing what I kind of want to be doing, but I'm also doing other stuff too. So
We all got everybody's working on something.
yeah.
I'm working on a TV show too.
What?
Yep.
Really?
Yep. Don't need to put this on because it's still very early in the
Sure.
process. But we've written the first two. Well, our head honcho Jamie has written the first 2 scripts. We're gonna do 6 episodes. About a startup app.
Okay.
Where you just get people to do little tasks, like TaskRabbit basically. It's just gonna be about like the owners of the company and the coders, and then the people that do the jobs. So we're gonna do 6 episodes, and then maybe try to push it to a local TV station or get like we are one of those live streams that I do, get them to publish
Yeah,
it
because
and then
how
put
do
it on
yeah, I
YouTube.
was like, what can you do with just, can't you just, like, even without sponsors, just put it on air, like
Yeah,
on some website?
we could just put it on a website, but it'd be always better to have actual
Yeah,
sponsors.
have something.
And yeah, ideally, maybe like we do season one just as a Facebook group, and
Facebook.
then
Yeah,
maybe get Facebook Watch to pick
right.
us up for season two.
I mean, I don't watch anything on Facebook Live, but apparently, or Facebook, whatever they're
Facebook
stealing.
Watch. So there's a
Yeah.
really fun show called did I ever show you those like Jimmy Tatro videos? Those YouTube videos that me and Michelle used to be really into. He
What's
would
the
do the
show?
like the total frat guy.
Okay.
Just
No.
make fun. Okay, so he was a big like YouTube presence, and he's done
Okay.
movies. He was in 22 Jump Street.
Oh, okay.
Rooster was his name, I think, and then he was in like Grown Ups 2 or whatever.
Sure.
And the Netflix show American Vandal.
Okay. I don't watch it, but I've heard of it.
Well, he was the season one like main guy. But anyway, so
Okay.
he did a show called The Real Bros of Simi Valley. And they did the first
Okay.
season just on YouTube, him and all his friends, and then the second season was actually on Facebook Watch.
Cool.
That's
Yeah,
my
I've never seen anything on Facebook Watch. Um, I have been listening to a lot of podcasts, and I don't know if you think, just where you're at in life, but my wife and I have been listening to this podcast called Mega,
okay.
and it is written by somebody from Saturday Night Live, and it's making fun. It's a whole like Saturday Night Live skit basically, but
Okay.
over the course of, they're at like 50 episodes or something, all about like mega church culture.
Okay.
And we find like it's really funny. So the singles ministry is called Solo Flight, and
That's a whack name. I'm
the
sorry.
youth ministry is called Climax.
Okay.
And then they'll bring on people on the show, like, oh, we're gonna interview the women's minister, we're gonna interview the singles women's minister, and it's just making fun of like basically like church culture, like stuff about marriage. Like the whole single ministry is basically like life's terrible unless you're married,
Yeah.
and the youth ministry is like all about not having sex basically.
Sure.
It's
But being
called
so horny.
Climax.
That's good.
So, and then the Ron Burgundy podcast. I don't know if you've listened to that.
Uh-uh.
I don't know if you think he's that's funny, but man.
I listen to All Fantasy Everything, which is a group of comedians that do fantasy drafts, just about different topics. So they'll draft like
Okay.
breakfast foods. You would love it, dude. They
I
draft
would. What is it
breakfast
called?
foods, all fantasy everything.
Okay.
So they draft breakfast foods, things you like about the mall. Uh, one week they did movies from 2000 to 2010.
Okay.
It's just wild seeing some of the picks. They do like appetizers, and they're all like comedians that work together out in LA. So they've all been like friends for years. So it's basically just
Sure.
them like shitting on each other.
Yeah.
But it's fantastic. I listen to that one. I listen to Bert Kreischer's Bertcast. He's another
Oh.
comedian.
Okay.
I'll listen to Little Pete Holmes. Hannibal's Handsome Rambler podcast is pretty good.
Okay. Yeah. There's so much. There's another one I thought of you. It was sent to me by somebody else, and they take a song and like break down a song.
Pump Up the Jam.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
So I can't remember her name. I haven't listened to Pump Up the Jam, but she's been on a few All Fantasy Everythings.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
I thought of you when I was like, oh, I bet Sam would love this show.
It's on my list. I need to listen to that.
That's cool. Yeah. Yeah, it's so fun like catching up. That's been the cool thing about doing some interviews with people I know. When I do interviews with like people I don't know, just trying to be professional and stuff.
We were sloppy boys from the RFC, dog. We ain't gotta be.
Oh man.
You know, Deborah got married and had a kid.
No.
Yeah.
I'm like pretty much out of. I mean, even when I lived in Memphis,
Sure.
towards the end, I didn't keep in touch.
Yeah.
I try to reach out to Nick, but I guess I'm assuming he stays pretty busy.
Yeah.
Try to talk to him about baseball, get him to listen to the podcast, but
He's not going to listen. He's
nada. Trying to think if there's anybody else. Like I said, Casey a little bit. Lindy I do talk to.
Yeah.
We use the Marco Polo app, and we'll talk to each other.
Okay.
Because we've both done, like his recovery work, as that's part of my story and my recovery work, and so we'll talk about that. Who else? Amber I think she's kind of kept up with me a little bit.
Yeah.
So I've never talked to her, and sometimes I don't know what to do when she's like, I want to follow you on Instagram and stuff. I go back and forth. But right now, I think she follows me on the podcast on my Instagram.
She's moving to China.
Cool. I could see her doing like something amazing, and I kind of always thought like it's gonna be fine. Like this one's not gonna be a really, really bad breakup overall, but it was tough in the moment. There
was gonna be a rough patch for it, but
yeah, because she still went to the house church all the way through. Like she's still friends with those people, and she loved that house church. So we were going to church together after we broke up and stuff.
Yeah. I saw her back in November.
Oh, okay.
I went down, did a show in Memphis.
Okay. Yeah, totally different than the previous breakup.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
She's getting married.
Good. Lot to learn. That was a lot to learn, but glad I went through it.
That was a wild year.
Yeah, that was the Coney year.
Yeah,
boy. Well, it wasn't so much the year; it was just that summer.
Yeah, it was a wild summer.
Like we were roommates.
Yep, we were roommates, dog. It was a wild summer.
What about Michelle? Do you talk to Michelle?
Sometimes, yeah. We've her brother passed back in October, so we've kind of reconnected after that. Suicide.
Oh.
Yeah.
Dang.
So definitely don't put this up. But
wow.
yeah.
No,
so,
I'm not good.
Yeah,
no.
sure. But so we, she obviously she reached out right when that happened. And we